In today's Delta Force coaching, I review a rather experienced player who clearly knows what he's doing, but struggles a bit to get maximum value from the way his weapon is built, and uses utility a bit too much. Alrighty, and we are live. Hello everybody, and welcome to a different video than usual. I'm your host, Gyozaplanet. Hi. And today we are doing a slightly different thing than normal. What I usually do with these videos is that I coach one of two games, either Totally Accurate Battlegrounds, which is a wonky physics-based battle royale game, or I coach a game called Project Remix, which is a build-your-own loadout hero or class-based shooter of sorts. But this is neither of those. This is a game called Delta Force, which is a mix of an extraction shooter and a battlefield-style large-scale battle game. And what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be reviewing my own gameplay, which, shocking, I know, because I usually review other people's, but A, I don't really know anyone else who plays Delta Force, and B, it's a fun experiment because I've been lacking a bit in my fights, and I want to see how I get better. But yeah, I'm basically going to go through the video, break down my thought process in certain moments, where I messed up in certain moments, and basically just make a list of things I can improve on, and yeah, how I can improve on them. Yeah. So, first off, spawning in the middle of the match has already started. I'm spawning in late, about like 20-25% late actually, with how many reinforcements are left. And I spawned directly in the line to fire someone, so I've run over here and to this place. This is mainly to get an angle. This like stairway section is really good for a couple of reasons. Main reason is that it basically prevents anybody from over here to shoot you, but it also lets you get clear vision of this spot if you're slightly higher up, and if you move a bit more forwards, as you will see momentarily. No. Normally, if I turn around, or if my character turns around right now and I look through there, I can see those doorways and everything, and it lets you get a lot. You can just shoot people for free since there's not much cover for them to hide behind. Here I'm running over to A1. This was because the point is being contested, and I wanted to just clear it off. I throw out a grenade here. I didn't really see anybody. It was kind of just a back-off grenade, or just try and catch anybody off guard. I will admit it's not the best use of a grenade, especially this character. So this character named Viron, he's an assault character, so he's like the combat type, or he's like the combat type of character and everything, and he has a couple of special things. His character-specific thing are these like C4 bombs that don't go very far, but they hit really hard, and they have a delayed detonation, so it's really good for pushing an objective, getting damage on vehicles or on people, and everything. What they are not good at is going very far. That's what the other assault characters are good at. Here I'm just taking pot shots at that sniper lady. This is pretty interesting. I'm shooting over here. I get a couple of decent shots on that sniper. And over here, this is another recon character, a slightly different one, completely oblivious, and I start shooting at her. I managed to get one hit off, and problem is, I know I am low on ammo in my rifle. So, as you can see, I only have 20 shots, and I couldn't reliably kill her. So, what I actually ended up doing here, personally, I think this is actually pretty clever. It's a bit overkill, yes, I could have just run at her, but it's quite possible she had throwing knives, and there's a high chance she could have throwing knives to me. So what I did here is this is a sort of portable grenade launcher of sorts, and so what I do is I throw it over there, and basically, can I skim by frames? No. But basically, throwing that there, what that does is that this entire section here, where she's standing and that I am watching, is basically off limits anymore. She can't stand here, otherwise she's going to take 80-something damage. It's between 60 to 80 damage, and the problem is, I've already hit her once with my pistol to deal 35 damage. She can't survive another shot, or she can't survive 80 damage, she's gonna die, and the character she's playing as doesn't have any healing abilities or nothing that can get her back to full health. So, what does that do? Well, she's forced to make a terrible decision, which is run towards me. Now, I'm lucky I have my ally here, but yeah, even then, even if I didn't have my ally, I still would have managed to get that kill, because She's sprinting towards me, which means her gun is down. It's going to take a minute for her to pull it up. And I get first shots off, and she's running in a straight line towards me, which means it's very unlikely I miss. Okay. Alrighty, so I'm kind of lost in this moment about what to do next, and I decide to go over here. This is kind of what I was talking about before. This area is quite strong because you get a view of this, like, doorway here, this doorway, and you're heavily resistant to getting shot by a lot of things. Even if you do get shot, you can kind of just duck down behind this barrier here. I almost managed to get that kill there. But as you can see by this little thing here, one of my allies manages to get the kill and fully secure the kill. I obviously don't get full points, but assist is good enough. Okay, I'm running back over here. This bridge, I'll admit, having control of this bridge is crucial for defending this point right here. So, for defending A1, I cannot draw, but this little, so A1 is this sector on the map. It's this, like, building of sorts, and then A2 is this, like, plaza here that you can't see because minimap isn't big enough. But the point is that if you control this, like, H-shaped bridge right here, you can take on both points pretty much simultaneously, and you make it incredibly difficult for the defense to, well, take it over, because the defense spawns in this entire zone right here. They don't actually spawn on the point, which means that you can either spawn on your original location and push forward, and you have everybody who's here who's providing covering fire and preventing them from moving up. Actually, hold on. I'm going to swap colors to illustrate this. You have everybody on the bridge who's offering covering fire, so the defenders here, they're stuck here, and if they try to move up, they just get executed, because you have like 3 people shooting at you. So what that also does is that it gives you time to build up reinforcements, which is very valuable, because a couple of good utilities there can wipe out all the people defending a point. So what you can do with this bridge is that you can use it as a spawn location, because it's mostly sheltered. It's sheltered, so you can't easily get grenaded. There's a lot of cover, as you've seen in the previous examples here. There's easy access, and it's elevated, and it being elevated makes it decently easy to shoot people, but it also makes it really hard for you to get shot. So having control of this H shape is the key to victory in this map. This is another example of me just kind of throwing out utility. I will admit, I do have a problem with that. Actually, I'm going to write this down. Mindless slash non-useful utility. I know it's kind of redundant name, useful utility, haha, but it is actually an issue. Several times here and several times in the future, you'll see me throwing grenades, throwing that ability, which is kind of like this explosive shockwave that knocks people on their back, very good for securing kills. I just tend to kind of throw it out without actually thinking if there's an enemy, if I'm going to deal damage and everything. And I will admit this is a bad habit from the other games I play, namely Totally Accurate Battlegrounds, which I do most of my content about. In that game, it is not actually a terrible strategy to kind of just pepper the battlefield with various grenades and abilities and stuff like that, because there's a good chance you're either going to be able to hit somebody, or it's going to somehow impact your fight positively. But here, that's not the case. As you can see here, I'm just kind of throwing out grenades, and it doesn't really do much. Here I'm getting shot in the back. Don't walk into those arrow thingies, they hurt a lot. I'm also grabbing a bit of ammo. And now I'm walking over here and I'm being a bit careful. The main reason here I'm being less aggressive here than I saw before is that my teammate was down, and that usually means there's somebody nearby to shoot them. It is quite possible they get sniped, but I don't want to really take the chances here. Main reason so I go here, resurrect my teammate. Now, normally this is a bit dangerous. Obviously I could get shot, but there are 2 reasons I'm probably not going to get shot. Firstly, So the first reason I have a low chance of getting shot is there's absolutely nothing on the minimap here. Or actually, hold on. So, A, there's no movement on the minimap here, and B, right on this yellow dot here, if I remove that, you can see I have an ally there. And because that ally is there... Oh wait, no, never mind, that's an ally's corpse. Okay, no, but I do have my allies up here, on this side of the map, and they're basically watching over here, and they're seeing if there's anybody there, which means that the chances of there being someone running to me is very low. Second one is audio cues. People running at you tends to be decently loud. The footsteps and movement abilities in this game are quite loud.
Hang in there. I'm here.
And I hear gunshots nearby, but I don't hear them on my position.
Thank you.
And there we were. There we go. I was about 3 seconds off from getting shot, but 3 seconds really makes a difference. This is just to get, yet again, more utility. And also trying to take a decent position here. I'm gonna be honest, that was a complete blunder on my end. How else could I have played this? Well, so I heard the gunshots. I think running out was my main issue there. I really should have just stayed behind the concrete cover of the bridge there. Well, either that, or I should have backed up and gone back up on top of the bridge, like I was talking about earlier. Because right here I have a solid position. I have a very thin, narrow way for me to get shot through. I also have this little banner thing right here that's preventing me from getting shot, to a degree, of course. If I had gone up the stairs, though, I would basically be shooting downwards towards this guy, and I would have a ton of room to back up and just get shots off. Yep, I blundered that. It was mostly being out of position, which is another issue that pops up. I do a death ping, which is basically just pinging where the last time you saw an enemy was as you die, and then I respawn here. Now, there is a medic, as you can see here, my medic teammate who can revive me, because it's only medics / squad mates that can revive you in this mode. My medic teammate could have revived me. However, that's not a very good idea for a couple of reasons. Number one, actually I'm going to see if I can rewind far enough. Okay, as you can see here, right as I am dying, it's kind of hard to spot, but there's an enemy right here behind these boxes. More specifically, it was an enemy with a sniper rifle, which means that had the medic come to revive me without a smoke, or even with a smoke, there's a good chance they would have shot them and killed them, which means that both of us died. Which basically means the medic dies for nothing. That's the main reason. Second reason is, yet again, this guy's up here, and he stays alive, as you can see. At least I'm fairly certain he stays alive. Yeah, no, you can see he gets another kill here. And there's a good chance that if he heard my teammate rezzing me, he just looks over, shoots the medic dies again. However, the main reason that I didn't want my medic to revive me, aside from the fact that I wasn't sure if he would, is that this isn't really a good position to be in. I am incredibly exposed to the entire enemy team from this side, from right here where I know there's an enemy, this entire side where I can be grenaded, hold on. This entire side of the map, where I can get grenaded from, shot from, they can run over, shoot me as I'm healing, or like as I get up because I'm going to be on low health, point, etc, etc. And however, if I respawn here, aside from, like, since I'm on defense, it doesn't cost me anything, we don't lose any lives, because you only have a limited amount of lives if you're attacking in this mode, I can spawn on my medic. And the thing is that my medic has a really good position. He's at the back of the point, next to stairs, which I can climb up, and he also has a sight line towards the, towards this, like, section over here. Now, if I wanted to, I could have stayed there, gone for some pot shots and everything, which is what I believe I do here. To a degree, I'm looking out, I'm seeing if there's any red names. Well, more specifically here, what I'm doing is I'm looking for where the enemies are. At the time, I did not realize that this entire zone was the point. I thought it was just this, little section up here. Which is like a walkway where I've been fighting. the point tells you how many, like, what the ratio of enemies are. So if it's like this, that means that it's mostly my team, and there's a couple of or like enemy stragglers on the point. So I'm looking around, I'm a bit confused, and then I realize, oh hey, there's probably enemies over here. Immediately I hear gunshots, which also helps with that. Now this is kind of a dangerous situation because you are, they have a lot of cover here that they can work with, and a lot of awkward angles you can get shot from. I catch this guy respawning, and I managed to take out a respawn beacon. Very good, that lowers the chance of us getting flanked. This is where things start to go wrong, and I wonder, let me know in the comments below if you can guess why, but I'll start explaining why this is not fantastic. So, throw out the airburst to try and catch this guy who I know is up here. I end up shooting them, so the airburst doesn't really do much. I don't spot that there's someone reviving up there. And actually, I don't spot anything going on. And yet again, this is the mindless utility issue coming in again. I just fired off the grenade launcher for the heck of it, which means I took a ton of damage and I got shot by one of the characters that reduces how long it takes for you to heal. Yet again, I go for a thing here. I try and go for gunshots here, and then I get caught out by a shock arrow from one of the recon characters. And then I dash out too late, but even if I had dashed out, I would have been directly in the face of two characters here. And the main problem here was my positioning, and actually a kind of just a consistent theme is that I pushed up past where my team was. As you can see, most of the people were back there, and then there was this singular character up here, this singular recon. And you can actually see this on the minimap. You can see us two are here, and then the entire like team line is here and everything. And I am playing an assault character, which means I should be on the front lines and fighting everything. This does not mean I should be at the very, very, very front of the front line. It also doesn't help that my build isn't really suited for it. It's a more like longer range, low recoil build of the M4A1, which is an assault rifle and everything. If I had a submachine gun or if I had a shotgun, this would actually be pretty okay. But I don't. I have a decently slow gun, which makes it hard for me to move around. And yeah, as you can see here, the team line has moved up slightly, a bit towards me, but we are lacking all of our allies. And the fact that they threw out this Dragonfly Swarm, which is the name of this ultimate ability and everything, means that there's a good chance that they are going to start pushing. This guy dying should have been the indicator that I was in trouble and I should leave, but yeah. Overall, I just got caught out and I spent too much time in a bad area. But yeah. Alright, so I spawn back in. I'm running up here. There's someone over here. I can't actually hit them, but I do get a bit of suppression on them, so yay. Participation trophy. There's this guy. I'm gonna be honest, this is, like, it was a bit stupid to push that, or like to re-peek that. It's what's known as ego challing. Not recommended. In my defense, I did not know they had a sniper. So, yeah. Questionable decisions all around. And then I respawn because the fire grenade makes it difficult for my team to try and revive me. I'm also, yeah, mostly that. So, yet again, I'm pushed up here. This time I'm playing a bit more behind the team, and I'm taking over this section of the map and everything, and providing support for this guy laying down on the ground in front of me. I go for a couple of just grenades to try and flush out the enemy. Doesn't really do much. And I'm using the movement ability just to get around faster here. So I do spot a couple of people and I get a bit of damage. So I get a kill on this guy. This guy is hunkered down and everything. Throw out an air burst. Doesn't really do much. I presume my teammate over here has already killed him.
Enemy located.
I point out the thing. This is mainly so if anybody walks up here, they know that, hey, this is where the enemies are, and they don't think that enemies are like 20 meters to the left. I try to go for a thing, but as you can see there, my character cannot throw his explosive thing very far. However, my teammate on the right actually can. They We're in a not great situation here. As you can see here, this guy has been highlighted, and I know he's going to try and flank us, so I'm keeping an eye out for him. I get a couple of shots off on this medic, and I fire off the grenade launcher here. And I do actually manage to get a kill. He got hit with a tiny bit of shrapnel here. I take down the respawn beacon. And then I'm just trying to keep an eye out, trying to see if they're going to revive the medic, because medics are usually a priority target when you're playing, because they can infinitely revive a team if you're not careful. Ducking back here to not get caught out in the open. And then me and this dude trade. Mostly. I think my teammate cleans up the kill. So, thank you, teammates, but yeah. Now, my ally could have revived me here. It's a bit of a shame that he didn't, because I am mostly in cover, but it happens. Overall, I've been playing okay-ish in this gameplay. It's definitely nothing stellar. My aim is, like, I struggle with recoil control. I play on a trackball. It's one of the consequences of using such a device. But also my decision making about where to go and what utility to use has been also not great. So I dash over here. This is mainly just because if they try and revive this guy, I can catch them off guard. And if there was another person next to him, I can also catch them off guard. I actually landed a couple good shots on this medic hiding in the corner. I throw that out. I will admit I did not expect to get shot there, so I kind of just threw out the airburst without thinking. Same thing there. I know there's an enemy nearby, but I don't know where they are, so I'm just kind of fishing with grenades, or fishing with utility and everything, which is not really the best way to use utility, which is, I think, one of my biggest pitfalls so far as a player, is that I just kind of throw it out instead of actually thinking about, hey, where could it be best used and stuff like that. Now, this is actually a bit devious on my part. What I actually try and do is repair the wall, but it turns out you can't actually repair the wall until it's fully blown up. So instead what I do is I just throw out a couple of grenades and then I move out. Main reason is I don't really have the abilities as a character to hold that position. I thought that was an enemy for a split second. Whoops. I walk into that ammo crate mainly to get to get refill on my grenades, and then I go back into the fight. So my ally gets a rocket launcher here, but I revive him because I might as well. I'm not in any direct danger. I will admit, I was kind of gambling there that I would hit something, but throwing utility into a group like that isn't actually a terrible idea, because even if you don't hit anyone, you do split them up and you force them to split up, which means that a second ally who's watching and who has better aim, for example, can clean up kills and mostly, yeah, can clean up kills. Same thing there. There's a good chance that airburst hits nobody, and it actually ends up hitting absolutely nobody. But just the threat of the airburst is enough to force the people to cover, which buys us time, or it forces them to run to cover, which gets us kills. And both of them are things we want. So I'm helping my ally here, and I see up top, as you can see, I'm letting the video know. Hello, previous me. I saw that the that they had taken over this point, and I was running over to defend it, because usually once they get a foothold in the point and they start moving their progress bar, they usually follow up on it, and losing one point is a very easy way to lose the following ones. I got a solid beam on that guy. He's, unfortunately for him, he's out in the open, with his character does not like to be out in the open. He's playing as a defensive character. This is actually this is alright. I'm peeking the corner, I'm being careful. I'm not actually looking for a kill here. This is mainly just seeing if there's anybody nearby, and if there are, then I can throw utility at them or shoot them or whatever. So I see the little flash of a red marker over there. And I just fire a grenade off, hoping to hit them. Take out the utility.
Really close one.
I managed to get a couple of shots off on the people that run across here, but it's not much, and I do kind of get into cover here. I did not realize I was getting shot in the back there. That's kind of unfortunate for me, but yeah, it happens. So yeah, that's part of it. Also here, I decide to respawn, and then as you can see up top, the objective here has been taken over. So I just spawned in to make sure that they hadn't thrown down a respawn beacon or anything nearby that they might start attacking the point from. Unfortunately, we do lose A1, so I just kind of see how it's going, and then I run over to try and help the people on the point. And yeah. So far, I had been doing alright in this game. I was struggling a bit to hit shots and everything, but I do see I do see a small flash of red on the minimap in this like bridge area. I suspect it was someone below me and not actually on the bridge. You can see me, I don't know. So there was someone, it was this guy. I get incredibly lucky here. Magic of hip fire. But yeah, I managed to get a beam on this guy, and this is what I was talking about earlier about this bridge being such a strong position, is that assuming you don't vault off of the bridge, you can just kind of hold down this entire area. That was mostly me double checking. I did not realize that this character gets, so they have a special thing where when you use the abilities, you get a slight boost in speed. I thought it was only when you use the dash, or the magnetic bomb, or the airburst thing. It also happens when you fall off of high ground, or like when you would normally take fall damage, you instead get a boost of speed and you don't take the fall damage, which is very neat. Which means that you can play from higher positions with this character with much less repercussions than normal. So I'm throwing the airburst over there. Yet again, it's mostly zoning. It's forcing out the enemies. And this is grenade fishing again. This guy absolutely does not see me. I panic a bit here because I get shot. But yeah. I'm mostly just looking, seeing if there's anybody nearby I can shoot. And then when there isn't, I run over. Or first I go over to help this sniper lady. And then I'm running over to try and take over the point again. I managed to catch this guy off guard. I throw a bomb because I see a red name tag in there. And then I get hit with a trap in here. The bombs, yet again, they don't really do much. But I'm mostly sticking around here. And the reason I'm sticking around here and not pushing in further is that medics are really vulnerable, or anybody in general is vulnerable when they are reviving a teammate. Medics especially, though, because they are, yet again, priority targets. And they're also kind of exposed when they are reviving. So I'm sticking by and making sure that if someone gets shot, it's me, and if someone starts shooting the medic, ideally I kill them. If I don't kill them, they kill me, and the medic can get the revive off, because it's much easier for the medic to get a second revive off, or them plus their teammate they just revived to shoot the other person, than it is for the medic to die, and then two people have died then. As you can see here, I start panicking a bit that they're gonna do what's known as back cap, which is capturing from behind and then ambush or attacking from the front and back of the objectives, which makes it kind of difficult for a team to hold out. So you can see here, I'm just running here, and once I see that there's no enemies, because there isn't the red and green red and green struggle bar is one name for it. I get a couple shots on this guy, or towards this guy here. I know that there's going to be another one, and then I just kind of get picked off here. Unfortunate, but yeah. There were 3 people there, and I did not expect 3 people. It was a bad move on my angle. I probably should have grenaded, but Here I'm spawning on the A2 objective, but it's mainly so I can run over to the A1 objective because I don't want them to capture it. If they can capture and hold it for long enough,
Target located.
they can they go into overtime, and there's a good chance they can take over from there. Here I'm mostly just I know that there were previously people here in the zone and everything, so I'm mostly keeping an eye out and just trying to shoot any stragglers or anyone who's around here. Now, I get lucky here, I get shot in the back, I vault over, and I'm mostly okay. Reload. I will admit, actually, I do have a console. I'm gonna add this on. Impulse. Reload problem. Usually, I tend to reload when I have more than like, or pretty much whenever I'm not in a fight, which I mean is okay. It's not terrible. I'm not reloading every single time I, like, right after I shoot, but there's several times where I have been caught reloading because it's a high-stakes scenario. I had more than enough bullets to actually kill someone, but then I just reload because I think, oh, hey, that's not enough bullets, and then I get caught. Get caught with my pants down is the expression, and then they just shoot me. This is actually some decent util. I'm just trying to figure out where the enemies are, because as you can see here, there's at least one person on the point. So I know that there's a good chance that they're going to be over here, and indeed, I catch them off guard here, and I manage to get a nice headshot, and I take them off, and or take them down more accurately, and yep. So that's this objective clear. We're going to run over here. I try to try to grab the ammo there. So I hear gunshots over here, and I see that a teammate dies. Turns out the dude was a lot closer than I thought he was. I thought he was over the fence. No, he was sitting right here. So that's unfortunate. So I revive, or I give up because there's nobody there that's going to revive. I do walk into but I do know that there's a good chance that the dude who just shot me is, well, currently trying to take over the objective that I'm currently standing on. So I start throwing a couple of pieces of utility in his way. Or his way. Airburst over there. I don't know where he is, but I do know there's a good chance he's not in this leftmost location over here. So I'm throwing because he's not behind that piece of cover, so I throw that there. And then I take advantage of the explosive, mag bomb that this character has is very high damage. It also has a quite big radius, so I throw it there, which means that, as I correctly guessed, the dude was going to be right there. Unfortunately, he gets one shot more than me, which means that I die. Bummer. But I know where he is, because he just killed me and everything. And, as you can see here, actually, I mean, I suspect that the danger ping actually helped here, but yeah, I'm just double checking that he's dead, because people who are prone sometimes do not look like they are actually dead. It has happened, and then yeah, I win the game. Overall, to kind of wrap up, it was a decent gameplay on my end. My biggest problems so far, from what I've noted, are I tend to overuse utility. Overuse of utility when gun will do. This is actually paired with a different problem, which is bad positioning. Requires more utility use than normal. So this is kind of what I was talking about beforehand, is that I tend to throw out utility a lot when I could just hold an angle and shoot someone, and that means I don't have utility in moments where it's really needed, or I have to spend time to go restock ammo at a box or at a deployable ammo box, which is time that I could be spending defending a point, getting kills, reviving teammates, etc., etc. The second one is that this is partly due to me having bad positioning. As I was explaining during the course of this video, I tended to push up a lot more than I should have, or I was just stuck in spots where it was a 3v1, 4v1, and I was just getting gunned, and I should have repositioned, tried to find a better angle and everything, and instead of doing that, I just ego child and thought, hey, my aim can win this, when in fact it cannot. Which brings me to the third point, actually, which is another thing I want to add on here. Not playing to weapon strengths / build strengths. So as I mentioned before, the loadout I have, so the M4A1 is fast firing, okay damage assault rifle, but the way I have it decked out is very much to reduce the amount of recoil it has, because yet again, recoil problems, I have a trackball, yada yada. So what do I do is that I have to throw on a lot of recoil attachments. Now it makes my gun really accurate, but it also makes my gun really slow. I have slow aim down sight speed, I have slow aim strafing speed, which is basically how fast you can move side to side when you're aiming down sights. It takes a while for my character to pull out their gun or to start shooting from a sprint and everything. And what that means is that I kept putting myself in positions where my gun wasn't suited for it, because my gun, I'm basically, the loadout I have makes my gun more long ranged, and I'm forcing myself to play more close range, so I'm actively working against myself. And what I should have been doing is using kind of like a the very miniature version of an LMG, where you can't, it's really not recommended to run at people with an LMG. Instead, what you want to do is you want to hold angles, you want to hold power positions like high ground, head glitches, pieces of cover that aren't easily approached or are resistant to stuff like grenades and everything, and you just kind of gun people as they appear. And that's what I should have been doing, instead of treating my assault rifle like it was a submachine gun or a shotgun. And then the last one is the compulsive reloading, which is mostly just, I don't like to get caught out with ammo, or get caught without ammo. This one is mostly just being aware of what's going on around me. If I know that there's a good chance there's an enemy nearby, I shouldn't reload, I should just hold the gun out. If I don't have enough ammo, and I know I won't have time to reload, I can swap to my pistol, which is why you have a pistol in this game. It's not just there for looks, shockingly enough. But yeah, I think that's mostly it. Strength has a T in it. So, the solution to this, solutions is, first off, tuning my gun more. Build more, which means putting on different scope, attachments, etc. Basically, if I'm going to have my weapon be like as low recoil as possible and everything, I can extend the range of the gun because the gun isn't kicking around as much, which means that I can play from a longer range, which means if I could throw like a 2-3x scope on my gun still only does 13 damage at range. But because of the lower recoil, I'm hitting more shots on average, which means I can very easily kill a target. So what that means is that if I make my gun more akin to the strength of the weapon, hold on, how do I say this? Basically, if I lean more into the weapon being like medium, like full medium range, instead of being like this medium close range hybrid and everything, I can, it's going to force me to play from a mid-range position, because the scope doesn't work at close range, the hipfire accuracy doesn't work at close range, etc, etc. So I'm forced to play at mid-range, and when I'm forced to play at mid-range, point number one of bad positioning gets fixed, because I'm in a better position that's automatically good for the gun and the way it's built, and I'm playing to my weapon strengths and how it's working. In regards to the overuse of utility, is mostly just practicing aim and mental check before usage. So the practicing aim is very simple. I just go into the firing range, I do a couple minutes of shooting the bots, practicing with the gun. Additionally, I can do things like aim labs to improve my aim. The mental check is a bit more complicated. What it basically means is that every time I'm going to go and use a piece of utility, I have to ask myself, what value am I getting from this utility? If I'm forcing somebody out of cover, that's value. If I'm dealing damage or securing a kill, that's cover. If I'm preventing a team from running towards me or like aggressing a point, that's value. But if I'm just If I'm just fishing with a grenade because I suspect someone's there, that's not really great value. If I'm just throwing it out because I'm hoping to get damage, that's not really great value. If I'm just like if I'm just trying to scare someone to running, that's questionable value, but most of the time it's not really worth it. So by stopping myself for like, it doesn't have to be much long. It's like 1 second before I throw it, or even as like I'm in the process of getting ready to throw it, I'm like, what value is this gonna bring? I can see if it's worth it, then yeah, I throw it. If it's not, I just back up and instead do something like holding the angle with my gun or trying to reposition. And by doing this, I should hopefully be able to reduce the amount of scenarios where I misuse or overuse utility, and also get more kills with my guns, with which then relates back to all the points I talked about previously. Anyways, overall, I think I did a pretty good performance. I still have a lot to learn, clearly, but I think I did all right, and I now have a series of steps on how to improve. As for you, the viewer, thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed this Delta Force coaching, or self-coaching more accurately. If you want to get coached, let me know in the comments below. Alternatively, you can join my Discord server and submit gameplay there. I can coach pretty much anything. Like the large-scale battles are preferable, but I can also coach operations, which is the extraction mode if you want. And if you like the videos I do and you want to support me and help me make better content, I have a Ko-Fi down below that, yes, I'm shilling a bit, but it really does help me make better content. Or, alternatively, if you want to do a one-on-one session and you don't want to just submit your gameplay and everything, you can find me on the Medify link below, where you can coach a one-on-one session with me. My timetable might be a bit finicky, so I will let you know by email if I can follow up on it, but it will be a one-on-one session where I get to live coach your gameplay and how you're playing, the way you make your builds and everything. And yeah, it's more in depth and more detailed than this, which is the advantage of it. Yeah. Anyways, thank you all for watching, and I shall see you all later. Ciao.